So what I'm about to read comes from his biography book in 1998. Several people have told me that there's not much left from the archives, unfortunately, so the video of this probably does not exist anymore unless somebody taped it back then and still has it, which is that would be awesome, but it's a gigantic long shot. Now I'm not positive of the year, but Christmas Eve would have only fallen on a weeknight between 84 and 87. I'm such a geek, I actually looked that up. So I'm just going to guess that it was either 1984 or 85. In any event, here goes. One of my other favorite stories from those days is about Santa Claus. It was Christmas Eve, so like a lot of news stations, we thought we were going to be cute and open the news with a report on Santa's whereabouts. Norma was on vacation, so I was there with Toria Tolley, who is now one of the anchors on CNN. We decided our lead story would be a report from the airport where the radar guy would spot something in the sky, and of course it would be Santa and his reindeer. So I opened the newscast as follows. Good evening. An unidentified flying object has been spotted over the greater Cincinnati Airport. Let's go to Bob Jones at radar control. I turned around and there was that big screen with an elderly guy named Bob Jones, who obviously had never been on TV before, standing next to a radar screen. The crew had given him an earpiece so he could hear me, but apparently it wasn't working. He was standing there, just staring into the camera with his big earpiece sticking out of his head, not saying a word, not realizing he couldn't hear me. I once again said, "Now let's go to the airport and check in with Bob Jones. Bob, what can you tell us?" The thing still wasn't working, so Bob was just standing there, so I'm going, "Bob, yo Bob!" But no Bob. Of course, the crew now realized what was going on, and they started losing it. Understand what I had now done. I went live on the air and told all of Cincinnati that an unidentified flying object had been detected on a radar screen. No one yet knew that this was a joke. There had been nothing about, "Good evening, Merry Christmas." No, I'd done this very seriously so it would work. I certainly could never have turned back to the camera and said, "We're just kidding around, there's no Santa Claus either." So I was staring at the radar screen, praying for Bob to hear me. All I could hear was the cameraman yelling at Bob to talk to me. Finally he responded, and it was horrible. He started pointing at the radar screen, but having never been on television, he didn't know that you have to stand to the side so the camera can see the radar screen. All you could see was his back, and he was just standing there completely blocking our view of the screen. All I wanted him to say is, "There's a sleigh, and it looks like I see some reindeer, but we never got there with old Bob." Finally I said, "Yo, Bob, does it look like a sleigh?" Now everybody was dying. I was biting my lip, trying not to laugh, because I knew at some point I had to turn around back and look into the camera. So finally I was losing it, and all I could say was, "Bob, I guess what you're trying to say is the UFO looks like a reindeer in a sleigh. It's best for the kids to get to bed early, is that right?" Well, he never heard me say that, so we just cut him off. As I turned back around toward the camera, I'd bitten my lip so hard, in an effort not to laugh, that I was actually bleeding. There's blood running down my chin. I had now told Cincinnati that there was a UFO, and I had a bloody lip. Tears were streaming down my cheeks, and Pat Barry was in the background just going crazy from laughing. Everyone walked off set because they were laughing so hard. I was now supposed to go into my next story. The floor director saw that there was blood coming down my chin, and so he started pointing at me, telling me to wipe. I didn't realize what he was doing until I reached for my chin and saw blood. All I could say was, "Oh shit! Oh my God, we'll be right back," and cut to a commercial. Now here's a picture of him from, that set was only used from late 84 to mid 85, so very likely that's what it looked like.